Okay, here we are. I'm going to start letting everybody in, and we can go to. Here we go. Yay. Yay. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, Dee. Good to see you.
Hi everyone. Hello Jinju. Hi Nova. Hi Ruth. How are you doing?
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So, as everybody gets settled, if you can just put into the chat box where you are tuning in from around the world and what is inspiring you or what inspired you to be here today, that would be wonderful. You can get that started as we welcome
And then, of course,
several
we'd like to
others.
know, we ask them where they're coming, where they're from. Okay.
I just
Oh, you just said that. Oops, daisy. And then, how did you hear about this?
Okay. And we'll also ask everyone to just go ahead and mute yourselves so that there's minimal interference. But the chat is open. And those of you who just popped on, if you can just put in the chat box where you are tuning in from and what inspired you to be here today. All right. And while you are doing that, we would love to go ahead and get started here by welcoming everyone into the Saraswati Shala. This is NaiAsa Institute's virtual temple. And I'm Dr. Jinju Dasala. This is Nova. And we are the co-founders of NaiAsa Institutes. And in the Saraswati Shala, we have a little manifesta. And we invite you to just meditate with this and feel this within you and invite this into the space. In the Saraswati Shala, we are the sacred weavers. We dance the sacred patterns of the cosmos, the cycles of nature, and embrace the spiral paths that guide us back home to the wisdom within. We are the embodiment of the divine. We are the fire of Pele. We are the spirit of Naya. We are the womb of Gaia, anchored in the balance of the lunar and the solar, yin and yang. We weave the universal threads of science, soul, and soma in service to healing, transformation, and empowerment for all. And we are thrilled to have you all here. Thank you so much for signing up and choosing to come and receive this amazing knowledge and wisdom and experience tonight. And just a couple of words before we officially introduce our presenter.
I just wanted to say thank you for all coming. It's 25 people had signed up for this class, and while a handful of them had let us know that they couldn't make it because of time zones and things like this, there were many who didn't show up, and you did, and so that says a lot. That says a lot about you, and what that means is that you're going to get something out of this. That you're the kind of people that not only are looking for some sort of healing. Obviously, you're here to support Ruth, but there's also a bigger reason why you're here. And so, we want to reward that. And so stick to the end of this seminar, and we have a special gift for all of you.
Yes. And we'll also make some time for some questions, a little Q&A and reflections. It's always really wonderful to hear everyone's experiences, what comes up inside of these. And yes, I'm just seeing some of the lots of Europe. Yes, we're in Bali, and we have a lot of people in the US who are still sleeping, but they will come back to the recording. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. UK, New York, Angel.
Who's been to Bali?
Has anybody
Yes,
been to
one
Bali?
person. Dee's been to Bali? Oh, okay. Who would like to come back to Bali?
Okay, beautiful. Thanks for being here. And now,
Should we say that we're going to be here for maybe about an hour, maybe less than an hour, and then we'll be here.
It's going to be about an hour, and then we might go over about 10 minutes just to give a little extra time and space. If anyone has to hop off, that's totally fine. But just so you know, we'll
be available for
available
questions and things like this.
So yay, I am so excited to introduce this beautiful and extraordinary woman, Ruth Elliott-Booth. So she has been immersed in the field of personal development for over 15 years. And I think what's really special is she brings this deep understanding of neurodivergent and neurodivergence and just experience of life for those who are disabled or impacted by things that bring unique challenges to everyday life. She's a creative writer. She's an amazing writer, you all. She's a journaling enthusiast, as many of you know. And she's here on this planet to channel her healing journey and her life experiences to empower others to live authentically while honoring their unique challenges. And I will just add that, you know, when Ruth stepped into our programs back in 2023, it's been a couple of years almost, she stepped into these programs for her personal healing and her open-hearted expansion. And little did we know at that time that 2 years later, she would be walking away from these programs, graduating as a level 2 certified teacher and stepping into level 3 certification to become a coach, and now holding space for others on their healing and empowerment and expansion journeys. And so this is the first of many spaces I've no doubt she will be holding for beautiful souls moving forward. And it is such an honor to have her here and have you all here. And what she's bringing for all of us is really profound. It's really valuable information and knowledge. And I trust that we will all walk away with something, a new spark within our hearts, a new opening within our minds that bring us all to be able to see some new possibilities for our lives and for the world. So with that, I'm going to hand the mic over to Ruth and let her, I think she's got co-host, and let her bring her slides up. And we wish everyone a wonderful journey. Enjoy the presentation. And it's so nice to meet everyone.
Hey everyone, it's really good to see some friendly faces and a couple of people that I don't know. And firstly, I just want to say thank you for being here. It's been a journey to get to this point, and yeah, I'm really excited to share this class with you and yeah, see what it ignites in everybody. So first there's going to be a little bit of a presentation, and then I'm going to move into a physical exercise class with NeuroSomatic flow. So this presentation is based on the paper I wrote, the Sacred Scholarship paper, which was part of my level 2 certification, and it's entitled Autism and the Flow State, a Path to Freedom and Self-Worth with NeuroSomatic Flow. And so a little bit of background, a lot of you here already know this, but I was diagnosed as autistic at 34, so a couple of years ago now. And women often receive a late diagnosis, and this is for a variety of reasons. But most notably, it's because research and diagnostic criteria are based on how autism shows up in males. And for women, it often shows up in different ways. And that means that for a lot of us, we enter adulthood not having this piece of the puzzle. And because of this, it often has physical and mental health implications. And this can be really severely, impacting our everyday life. And the reason why I wanted to explore this in my paper and in this presentation is because I've experienced my own physical and mental health issues because of this piece of the puzzle that I didn't have. I mean, most notably, I'm quite convinced that my depression and anxiety is rooted in this piece of information that I didn't have about myself. So a really light touch is that neurosomatic flow is different from a normal flow class in the sense that there's three concepts that we include, which is neuroplasticity, the idea that the brain can be rewired, somatics, which is intentionally being in the body, and ontology, which is the study of the way of being. And a couple of these concepts we'll explore in more detail, both in my presentation and in the class later. And I'll also be talking about neurosomatic flow technique, which is something that we use to help people to rewire thought patterns and ways of being. So a couple of statistics. So 59% of autistic people are impacted by anxiety. And in this population, it can cause exhaustion, meltdowns, autistic fatigue, and burnout. And 25% of the general population have mental health problems. But in the autistic population, this increases to 80%, which is quite a severe difference and something that is so often neglected in our society, and the support that is offered by our GP, by the government, and by society as a whole. And another statistic that I found really interesting is the prevalence of PTSD. So in neurodiverse people, this is 35%, and in neurotypical, it's only 4.5%. Now, I think there are various reasons why PTSD is more prevalent in the autistic population, but one reason may be that it relates to the heightened sensory processing and the way that a lot of us experience things in a much more extreme and overwhelming way. And therefore, these experiences that might be quite normal for neurotypical people and dealt with quite quickly can often result in quite severe and traumatic responses for us, which can then result in PTSD. So stress has a high impact on mental health, and I think a lot of us know this from our own experience. But the stress regulation system develops in infancy. And there's a suggestion that a lack of love and nurture can cause this system to not develop properly. And that results in it taking longer to turn off the production of cortisol, which means higher stress for longer periods of time. Now, for a lot of autistic people, we can struggle with eye contact. And for some of us, it can be physically painful. But eye contact is really important in connection and building a sense of safety between infant and caregiver, particularly in those early few months of life. And we learn how safe we are in the world from our early experiences. And I do wonder whether this is a reason why autistic people deal with heightened levels of stress for longer periods of time, because that eye contact between us and our caregiver is so difficult, and therefore the connection and the safety just isn't nurtured in the same way. So stress impacts the body in various ways. It pushes the nervous system into a sympathetic state. So you might know it as fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. But it also causes the blood pressure and heart rate to rise. And over long periods of time, this can decrease the immune system, meaning that we're more able to catch things and it takes longer for us to fight things off. So as you can imagine, this heightened and prolonged stress has a huge impact on our bodies, our health, and our mental well-being. Now, stress, trauma, and anxiety can have a huge effect on self-worth. And this is the case for everybody, that external events are internalized as negative self-talk. Now, for autistic people, we often feel like we don't fit in with society. And as a result, we internalize feelings of being broken, bad, and unworthy. And this impacts our self-care and the ability to ask for help from other people. Now, there is something that I believe can help this, and that's neurosomatic flow techniques. So these encourage the breaking of old patterns of thought and therefore make space to form new patterns that contain healthier stories and ways of being. It also helps to restore balance within the nervous system, bringing it back into that parasympathetic state. And it then encourages safety within the body and mind. Now, for myself, Jinju kind of talked a little bit about it at the beginning, but I came to neurosomatic flow feeling very, very stuck in who I was and where I was going. I didn't really have a very big understanding of what was going on, but it felt like I would always be exactly where I was. And my world was very small, and I didn't really believe that I could get out of the place that I was. But this journey with neurosomatic flow and using neurosomatic flow techniques has allowed me to both imagine and embody new possibilities. And like, if you'd have asked me a year and a half ago whether I would be sat here doing a presentation and teaching a class, I probably would have laughed in your face. So this has really made things possible that I just didn't ever imagine were possible. So neurosomatic flow techniques is a 5-step process. So firstly, we identify a fear or limiting belief. So for some autistic people, this is something like, I am damaged goods and unworthy of being loved by anyone. We then rewrite this limiting belief to become a positive affirmation statement. So I am not damaged and I am worthy of being loved. We then make this statement into a mantra. So rather than saying I am not damaged, which still focuses on the damaged part of that limiting belief, we would say something like, I am whole and worthy of love. In this way, we simplify our statement, turning it into a declaration that can be easily remembered and spoken out loud. And step 4 is we bring in a flow pattern to practice alongside our mantra. And we learn this pattern in the body. And as we're learning a new pattern, we also learn a new thought pattern at the same time in the form of our mantra. So there are various different patterns that we can use. And in my class, we'll be exploring taking up space. So we're going to use patterns that take up space in the body. And the last step is that we embody this pattern and our mantra until it feels really comfortable and there's confidence in speaking it. So for my experience, my first NSFT, it felt really, really stupid to be saying something that I didn't feel or believe out loud. But by the end of it, I noticed that I was speaking my mantra more clearly, and I felt that it was really anchored within me in a way that it hadn't been before. So my paper explored the flow state and how this relates to autism and autistic people's experiences. And I discovered something called monotropism. So there's two definitions here regarding the flow state and monotropism. And I'm not going to read them out, but I'll give you a little bit of time to read them yourself. But as you can see, they are very, very similar. And it's really interesting that this thing that is quite often found in autistic people is so closely linked to something that people strive their whole lives to understand how to get into and how to master, if you will. Now, monotropism, you may know more commonly as hyperfocus behavior. So for me, an example of monotropic behavior is how I get sucked into writing really easily, and I can forget all sense of time, and everything else just falls away from me. And I don't realize what's happening around me. And I also don't realize that I haven't had a drink for ages, or that I'm desperate for a wee, and I'm just really immersed in the activity that I'm doing. And that's a good example of monotropism. So there's an idea that there are four stages of flow, and we need to enter each stage in order to get to the next stage. However, I think that monotropism can mean that for autistic people, we don't necessarily need to go through the struggle to eventually get into the flow state. And I wonder if this flow state allows us to shut out large amounts of sensory input. After writing my paper, I do wonder if monotropic behavior is the brain's way of building a coping mechanism in people that experience high levels of sensory input, as a way of managing and trying to keep balance within the nervous system and brain. And we see it in other ways where the brain tries to balance out things that are maybe not working properly. So using poi is a good way of entering into the flow state, and it's something that we use quite a lot in doing our NSFTs. So a really quick history of poi. It originated with the Maori and was used as a way of telling stories of creation and spirituality, but also a way for warriors to train in strength and dexterity. In its simplest translation, it means ball on a cord. And usually you use one in each hand. So this contralateral movement of doing a different movement with each side encourages a deeper connection between the two hemispheres of the brain. And this in turn creates more possibility for breaking those old patterns and building new ones. But it also takes focus away from our thoughts and into the body. So for anxiety in particular, it's all about racing thoughts, and we can quite often get stuck in our heads. But a movement-based flow, like with poi, we're bringing ourselves back into the body and being intentional with it. And this is the somatics part of neurosomatic flow. And I think this could be particularly important with autistic people who spend a lot of time in stationary activities when they're in a hyper-focused behavior. And I think it can be really important to encourage us to move about more, as well as being more active. So I'm really fascinated by how we can use this natural predisposition for flow to help heal and empower autistic people. And it has the potential to support them in exploring the limiting beliefs that keep them small, which in turn encourages them to live out their true potential. I think about what individuals could achieve when they're not spending so much time trying to fit into society. And working with people's natural way of being to encourage greater internal safety will result in an increase of self-worth. And ultimately, no matter what's happened in our childhood and early life, the goal is to be able to find trust and home within ourselves so that we can feel safe to take risks and step out of our comfort zone. Using neurosomatic flow and neurosomatic flow techniques in the autistic population opens up infinite possibilities on an individual and collective level, and that excites me so much. And I'm just loving exploring this and seeing where it leads. So with that in mind, I want to thank you for listening to my presentation. And if you've got any questions, just hold them until the end of the class, and we'll have a bit of time where you can ask them. I'm going to turn off sharing, work out how to do it.
You want to?
A minute.
Did you find it, Ruth?
Yeah, I've got it. There you go.
Perfect.
Right, now I've worked out how to do that. So now we're going to move into the more active part, I guess. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a kind of summary of what we'll be doing in the next half an hour-ish. So the intention for this class is taking up space. And we're going to start with a really gentle grounding, bring ourselves into our own bodies. And then we're going to move into a small writing exercise. So I hope that you've got your paper and pens to hand. And then we're going to move into playing with simple circles with extensions in the body and with props if you've got them. If you don't have props, it's fine. We can just play with it in the body. And then we're going to have a little song to free flow with and play with taking up space in our own way. And then a short closing and a question and answer at the end if anyone's got any. So before we start, I want to make sure that you've got your paper and pens handy. And because we're going to go straight into that after the grounding. And it would be great also to know who doesn't have any props. So anybody who doesn't have any poi or socks or anything to swing about. Okay, so there's a couple of you. That's great. I can just alter it a little bit and make sure that you're still feeling included and part of it. So if you can make yourself comfortable, and we're just going to do a bit of grounding into the body. So make yourself comfortable and close your eyes and just settle in to where you are. And for now, I just want you to breathe normally and be aware of your body and how it feels in this moment. We're not judging how we are, we're just observing. We're not trying to change anything. We're just being with ourselves exactly as we are. Now, a lot of the time we don't give ourselves the opportunity to do this enough. And so really just settle into being in this space with you. And as we sit here with our eyes closed, I want you to start to think about where in your life you feel small. And what does it feel like when you're small? How does it feel like in your body? And what happens to your breath when you feel small? So for me, when I feel small, my breath is quite shallow and quick. And I tend to feel small in my body as well. So as we think about our smallness, I want you to keep your eyes closed, but maybe start to bring it into your body. So that could look like hugging our knees to our chest, hunching over, hunching our shoulders, could be tucking our head into our chest, just really bringing that smallness into our body. Now I want you to start to think about what it might feel like to expand and take up space. It doesn't have to be in huge ways. It could be in small, tentative little steps. How might it feel to be bigger in your body and in your life? How might that reflect in your relationships with others, in your work, in your connections with friends and family? How might it feel to be bigger? And for some of you, it might be uncomfortable. And I want you to give space for that as well. Sometimes being big pushes us out of our comfort zone, and I want you to honor that. As we imagine what it might feel like to take up more space, I want you to try and deepen your breath at the same time. So allowing your lungs to expand as your body expands. So as you breathe in, I want you to raise your hands above your head. And as you exhale, bring them down. Do that for maybe 3 rounds in your own time. Just taking up space in a really gentle way. And as you do this, I want you to allow this new possibility to exist. You are worthy of taking up space. And whether it feels like a true fact right now or not, you're playing with that possibility. And that's the first step of this journey. Now slowly open your eyes and come back to the here and now. So we're going to go straight into the writing exercise. So if you find your paper and your pens, and today we're going to work with one of 2 mantras. So I'm going to put them in the chat and choose which one feels right for you, which speaks more to your experience. So there's I take up space, or I expand into my life. So whichever one feels more connected to you, I want you to write it in the center of your first piece of paper. And around it, I want you to write a few words that came up during your visualization. Just around it. I've done mine earlier just so you can have a little look if you need to. It doesn't have to be many words. Just I want you to start to think about things that you associate with taking up space and write it around your mantra in the center. And this is something that you can come back to after the class and, you know, maybe even do a bit of journaling in it, with it to expand on it, a little bit of free flow writing. But for now, we're just writing a couple of words. Once you've done that, I want you to take one of your pens and put it into your non-dominant hand. So the hand that you don't normally write with. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw a circle around our mantra. And as we do that, we're going to speak that mantra out loud. And it doesn't matter if it overlaps the words. It doesn't matter if it's wonky, which it probably will be using our non-dominant hand. But just go around and round with our non-dominant hand, speaking that mantra out loud. And it's probably going to be a little bit of a struggle to draw with your non-dominant hand. And I want you to also pay attention to your breath. Because for me, I hold my breath when I'm doing things like this, and it might not be helping. So remember to take deep breaths as you're doing this and not hold it. So this struggle that you're experiencing is potentially the first stage of flow. And it gives us the opportunity to break something in our thought process and maybe even build a new connection. So now I want you to take your second piece of paper, and hopefully you've got two pens. So now we're going to put one in each hand. And on our piece of paper, we're going to draw two circles next to each other. And it doesn't matter if they overlap, it doesn't matter if they're wonky, but make sure that you're drawing them in opposite directions. So you're either circling inwards or you're circling outwards. So there's two different movements for each hand. And here's one I made earlier, so you can see. So this is my non-dominant hand, and this one is my dominant hand. So you can see quite a difference. So as you're doing those circles around and around, I want you to speak that mantra again. And this contralateral movement that we're doing with this drawing is what we'll be doing with our poi or in our body in a little bit. And it takes quite a lot of concentration to focus on what our hand's doing and also remember what we're supposed to be speaking out loud. And it's a little bit of a good example of how this can be used physically in our body. So we're using both of our left and right hemispheres of the brain to do whole brain functioning. And this promotes the opportunity to build new neural pathways. And this is particularly true when we bring that intention into it with our mantra. So we're kind of guiding the direction that this healing goes. So when you've had a chance to do that, we're going to put that to one side and we're going to move into warming up. I'm just going to take a drink if you want to have a drink. So because we're doing extensions in the body, particularly our shoulders are going to get a bit of a workout, and shoulder safety is really, really important. So we're going to do some stretching to begin with to just loosen everything up. So I want you to come to standing if you've got enough room. I'm going to try and move my camera so you can see me properly. So if everyone can stand up, shake our bodies out from being sat down for a while. And some of you who've done yoga before might have some experience of the eagle pose. But if not, I will do my best to direct you through it. So what we're going to do is we're going to do an in-breath and bring our arms up to the top. And then as we exhale, I'll move closer. We'll cross one arm over the other. And as if we're reaching the hand with the other, so it twists round. And this is a nice stretch for the back of our shoulders, which will work really well when we do those extensions. And it's okay if you can't touch your other hand. I'm feeling quite tight today, so I can't reach all the way. And if you want a stronger stretch, you can just really gently lift your elbows up to the ceiling and it'll give you a stronger stretch. And then shake your arms out and we'll do the other side. So a deep inhale, and I always forget which way I did last time. We'll do the other way. And I want you to really pay attention to your breath in this stretch. So it's almost the elbow is on top of the elbow, kind of stacked. Yeah, that's it, Sarah. And pay attention to your breath, because this is like a contracted pose where we're kind of hunched in and yeah. And sometimes we cannot breathe properly when we're in this pose. So once you've done that, give your body a good shake out. And what we're going to do first is we're going to bring in this pattern in the body. So without any props first. And for some of you, this will be what you do throughout the whole class. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some really slow swimming. And as we do our slow swimming, I want you to really pay attention to how straight your arms are. So we want as if we've got a long stick of wood reaching from one hand to the other. And as we swim, make sure that your torso is moving with your arms so that we don't try and swim with a torso that's stuck, because then we could pull our shoulders even more. Just take it really, really slowly, as slow as you can. And we're just really intentionally moving. And you can bring your breath into this. So as one arm rises, you can inhale. And then as you exhale, your arm falls in front of you. And just work with your breath. however feels natural. And I'm going to come and have a look at how you're getting on as you continue that. So that's great. It's lovely, lovely and slow, Katie. Just pay attention to that elbow that's bending as it goes backwards. Make sure that you're reaching out from your fingertips. There you go. And then we'll reverse our swimming and go backwards as if we're doing a nice leisurely backstroke. And if at any time your shoulders are feeling tight or achy or you need a bit of a rest, just give them a good shake out and you can take a little bit of a break. There's no forcing of a movement that doesn't feel good. But we're just intentionally keeping an eye on what our bodies are doing. And really just slowing down. Lovely. So, for those of us with props, if you can pick them up. So I will show you with, I have my poi, but I also have a homemade sock poi to show you with. So if you've got socks, I want you to tie a knot near the end because that's what we'll be holding to stop it from flying out and hitting things that we don't want it to. And if you have poi, the hold that I like to do is put the neck of the poi through my peace fingers, and then I fold the loop over and it locks. And as you can see, it's really strong and it's not going to come out, and then I don't have to worry about it. But I will use the socks because most of you are using them. So we're going to do one arm at a time to really focus in before we get stuck into using both of them. So first I'm going to demonstrate what we're aiming for before we start. So what we're going to aim for at the end is a full extension with both poi or props or even just arms. And just because it's an aim doesn't mean you have to get there. This class is about what's right for you, what feels right, and you get to whatever point feels right. So first we're going to start with our dominant hand, so the hand that feels most comfortable for you. And we're going to start with a gentle pendulum. So we're just going to let it hang next to us. And we're going to just swing it back and forth. And the good thing about using props like this is that it's sort of a feedback loop. So it tells us a little bit about what's going on in our body. So as you can see with mine, the poi kind of looks like an extension of my arm. It's moving like a straight line because my shoulder and my arms quite relaxed. But if I start to tighten, you can see that the poi starts to really jump around. And that means I'm getting feedback that something's a bit tight there. And it can really show you where you need to maybe bring in some relaxing. You can do smaller pendulums, or you can bring it as wide and feeling the top point where the poi hits the point before it swings back. Lovely. And then we're going to bring it into some simple circles. So a bit like a wheel next to us. And we work with currents in poi. And this is the horizontal current, or the planes, sorry. We work in planes, and this is the horizontal plane. And it's a bit like a wheel. So here we're really paying attention to how straight it is next to our body. And if you don't have any props, maybe continue those pendulums with your arms. But if you do have props, we're just paying attention to how straight it is. So we don't want it to cross over our body, and we don't want it to cross back, because when we've got two on the go, we might get a little bit tangled up. That's great. It's really straight, Laura. I love it. And then we're going to try with an extension. So I'm going to move to the side to show you, and we're going to do a couple of simple circles, and then we're going to do one big extension, and then back to simple circles. Now, if you don't have a lot of room and you're afraid of hitting something, you can always roll your poi or prop up smaller so that you're not going to hit anything. It just gives you a little bit more weight on the end of your arm. And if you haven't got props, just do a couple of slow swims and then a faster swim to really loosen up those shoulders. So a couple of slow ones or small circles, and then a big one. There's only just enough room in here. I'm just touching the ceiling. And then we might go into a couple of big ones over and over again to really loosen up that shoulder. That's great. And then we'll move into our non-dominant hand. So for me, definitely, I notice a difference. And I imagine even without props, you'll notice that one of your arms is stiffer than the other one. So we'll start again with that pendulum, but on our other side. And we'll start swinging really gently. Remembering to take in a deep breath. Remembering our breathing throughout all of this. Really notice how different it might feel on this side. Maybe your shoulder is not moving quite as fluidly as the other side. Maybe your elbow wants to bend more than the other way. Maybe your wrist is doing something different. Just want you to start being aware of what's happening. And then when you're ready, go into your simple circles. Or if you're doing it without props, go into those slow swimming on one side. And again, really notice how straight you are in your plane. And it's a lot harder, I find, on my left side to keep it straight. And you can imagine that there's a wall next to you and you're just spinning that prop up against it, trying not to hit that wall. And then when you're ready, we're going to go into a extension. So a couple of small circles and then a big extension. I'm going to roll my poi up because I've got less space this side. So a couple of small circles and then a big extension and back to small. And then maybe a couple of extensions, one after the other. How's everyone getting on? So do remember that if there's any pain or maybe sharp pain particularly, just listen to that and scale back. So you can go back to your pendulum arms if it's feeling a bit tight and achy. You know, you're really honoring what your body needs in this moment and not trying to force it. We don't always have to be huge in our bodies to take up space. It's much more about how we feel inside and how much space we want to and feel that we deserve to take up. So if people want to, we can use both hands now. So pick up your other one. And instead of starting with the pendulum, we're going to go straight into our simple circles. And we're going to do this for a little bit because it can be quite challenging to pay attention to what both arms are doing. And if you've not got any props, just go back to that gentle swimming and really focus on that breath when you're doing it. So those with props, we're doing our simple circles. And this is called same time. So the poi are moving at the same time, like the wheels are spinning. And we're going to move into split time, which is while one poi is up in the air, the other poi is down. And it's a struggle. It is a struggle. And just embrace that and have fun with it. It can feel a little bit weird while our body works out what's happening. And maybe you want to roll your poi up a little bit smaller if they're going all over the place, just to have a little bit more of a control. But you've got that weight in your hand, and then you can lengthen it if you need to. And if you want to have a go, you can use both. And we'll do the extension, like the swimming like we did earlier, but with our props. And we'll do a couple of them and then come back into our simple circles. And then back to our extensions. That's great. And carry on while I come and have a look at how you're getting on. It's really, really great. I love how you're all really giving it a go. And I know this is all new for some of you, so I'm really, really proud to see you getting stuck in and just having fun with it. And I think that's the main thing, is even in the struggle, you know, we're not trying to get it right first time, because it's not about that. It's about the process. So before we end, I just want you to carry on with that just for a minute longer. And as we're doing it, say your mantra out loud. So we're adding that mantra into our pattern. And that is the process, the step of our NSFT, to add our mantra and our pattern together. And we're starting to form a new pattern in our brain, both in our body and in our mind at the same time. Lovely. Right. So let's see. Now I'm going to share a song so you can shake out, because I know you're probably getting a little bit tired. I'm going to share a song that we can have a little bit of a free flow to. And you can continue with those extensions. You can put your props down and just have a bit of a dance. Whatever feels good. We're just playing with taking up space and whatever that means to you. So let's see. Start off. So can everyone hear that, or is it? No? That better? Yeah?
I can be who I wanna be. I give my best and I am proud of me. I can be.
So I really love this song. I love the lyrics that it says. I can be who I want to be. I give my best and I am proud of me. Love that. And especially with taking up space. Amazing. So if everyone wants to come back to a seated position, back where we were in the beginning, maybe have a bit of a drink if you're feeling like you need it. I do. And come back to stillness and close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, I want you to place your hands on your heart and just notice how you feel. Is there a difference between the beginning and the end? Maybe you're just feeling warmer after moving about. Maybe you can feel that tingle that we get after we've been moving in our fingertips and our toes. I want you to think about whether you're aware of your body taking up more space. Maybe you're sitting taller. Maybe you're more rooted on the earth. Maybe your energy is taking up more space. And while we take some deep breaths in our own time, whatever feels good for you, I want you to hold that mantra that you chose at the start of the class close. I want you to imagine holding it in the center of your palm and pushing it slowly into your heart space. Imagine it sinking into your body and starting to flow out through your torso, into your arms and legs, and up into your head, until that mantra is alive in every cell of your being. And know that whenever you feel small, you can come back to those exercises and you can come back to your heart space where that seed of taking up space will be held safely within you. We are all worthy of taking up space. One last question I want to leave you with while you still have your eyes closed is, where can you take up more space in your life? Where can you be a little bit bigger? Just take 2 more deep breaths. A big breath in and a long inhale out. And one more in and a long inhale out. And when you're ready, just slowly open your eyes and come back to the screen. And to end, I just want to ask you to share 1 or 2 words in the chat about how you're feeling at the end of the class. And it's something that we can hold space for at the end. We can hold the space that you want to take up at the end of this class. And I always think there's a power in other people witnessing things for others. And it's definitely been a powerful thing that I've experienced. So a couple of words of how you're feeling at the end. I'll give you a couple of minutes or so to write anything that's coming up. Lovely. Sarah says, I feel tingly and a little teary. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Sarah. Katie says, grounded, open, emotional, and tingly as well. Lots of tingles everywhere today. Lee says, relief, content, and tingly as well. Mariana says, I feel warm and strong. I love that. D, love the presentation and the flow. Feel peace, relaxation, and calm. I'm so glad. Give you a couple more minutes to just those who might want to share as well. Laura, a nice warm feeling in my shoulders. I'm more calm with the knowing that I can expand into my life naturally and easily. Yes, we can all do that. We all can give ourselves permission to do that. Angel says, aware that I needed continued slowness for my shoulder and neck. Invitation to keep honoring where I am in my healing, definitely. iPhone, whoever that is. I needed this today. I'm feeling ready to expand into my life and to share myself. And this exercise with my kids, lovely. It's a great exercise for kids. And I know Sakai's enjoyed doing this one before. So yeah. Miriana, I feel like crying, a little bit of pain, but feel bigger and safer. Holding space for that as well. So with that, I'm going to say that I'm complete, and thank you so much all for being here and for sharing this space with me and for allowing me to share the things that I've learned over the last couple of months with you. And I'm really, really grateful for you all. Thank you. And if you've got any questions, please do write them into the chat. I nearly forgot.
Oh, please join us in giving Ruth a big round of applause. Congratulations. That was amazing. All of you are amazing. Thank you so much for being here and bringing your magic. And I know some of you are going to have to hop off. We're going to take a few minutes for any questions or reflections, but those who have to hop off, Nova's going to put your little gift into the chat box.
Yeah, we just want to share this gift for you for staying with us so long. Also for those on the recording. So I'm going to share one of our courses. This is a sort of a longer form of a NeuroSomatic flow class that's actually led by Jinju. And we created this class because we created at a time that we just felt a lot of people were disconnected. This was maybe a couple years, a year after COVID that we created this journey. So I'm going to share the link right now. This is usually like a $44 class. On the website's $22, but for you, it's free. It's a free gift. So I'm gonna.
So if you want to just a little bit more.
So go ahead and copy that link if you want to open it up in your browser now, and then to get the course, just go ahead and use Ruth22 is the code, and then you'll get the class for free. Now the caveat is that if you want to access the class for free, you have to do it before January 15th because the code expires on January 15th.
Yes.
And there's all kinds of other goodies in there, but that's a start.
Yes. So there's your gift. And then I also want to just say, yeah, Ruth has really dedicated her dedication. And it really shows today. She really dedicated herself to herself, her own journey. And then she went deeper, and then she went above and beyond. I think even beyond anything that she thought she would be doing. And, this is what happens when you connect with something bigger than you, and you connect with that part of you that came to this world for a purpose. And I think everyone here would agree with me when I say that the way that you held space tonight and you sharing everything that you shared, your unique light, your wisdom, you are here living and shining your purpose, and it is to the benefit of us all. Thank you so much. That was a beautiful presentation, beautiful experience.
And there are for sure some of you right now on this call that have known Ruth for a very long time, probably longer than us. And I could say that there's definitely a before and after that we see in Ruth for sure. So
it's really
if you feel the same way, raise a. We have seen that in her for sure. So yeah.
Does anybody have any questions? You can type it. You can just raise your hand and unmute.
We'll be here on maybe 5 more minutes.
Beautiful. Thank you. Morel, I wonder if I said that right. Thank you for coming. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so
She
much.
says, thank you, Ruth.
Thank you for being here.
Okay, doesn't look like there are any questions.
Yeah. Well, if any questions do come up, you can always ask Ruth directly, or you can email us and we can relay that question to Ruth. Yeah.
If you when you're in the course, the Aloha Vaha, there are places where you can leave comments,
There
and
too.
you'll see people who have left comments in the past. Please do leave a comment, because actually we respond to them, each and every one of them. Ask Ruth and Dee and Angela. We respond to all the comments.
Yeah, we
So.
love them. We love them. And it's just really special to come together in this kind of way. And we really feel all of you and feel the uniqueness of what you got to experience. And yeah, thank you, Ruth. Thank you so, so much. Thank you, everyone. We wish all of you a wonderful rest of your day or night, depending on where you are in the world. And we have 2 more seminars coming up.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And actually, one of the presenters is on this call. Angel, can you raise your hand? Yes, there's Angel. She's in New York right now, and she will be presenting next week. On the title of yours is a love story, Befriending Trauma. It's a love story. It's a beautiful title. Sorry, I forget exactly what it is, but it's going to be another amazing experience and difference.
Yep.
And so hope you can make it to that as well.
It might be a different time for the UK folks. I'm not sure, but if you go to the original email, you'll have all the scheduling there. So if you haven't already signed up for hers or for Jessica's, whom I believe is the 3rd one, 2 weeks from now, please do so.
Yes. And yes, the recording will be emailed. Yes, it will, to all of you.
Yep.
Yes. All right.
All right.
Well, if that is it, Ruth, if you could
Ruth,
stay
stay
on,
please.
and we bid all of you a beautiful farewell. Blessings.
Good day.
Om Santi 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 Om, as we say in Bali, and hope to see you again soon.
Have a good New Year.
Blessings.
Good 2025.
Thank you, everyone.
Oh, I love the hearts. Yes, thank you, Merjana. I love it. Yes. Mwah. You. And I'm going to stop recording.